All right, Hotep is Mansho and Nawasha here with another pre-Akoma Day video. Today we wanted to talk about word cultivation and word purge. We want to talk about names. So I thought it'd be good to start off with our name that people know us or don't understand about us on Facebook.
Yes, so if you know us, you know that this is Mansho and I'm Nawasha. But if you don't know, we're just Manwasha on Facebook. So when we put up the last video, we asked for a couple of questions, and some of the questions always are, who are we? We wanted to just let you know, of course, this is the Man and this is the Washa.
And what we did was we took the first part of my name and the last part of her name and combine it into a name. We actually do share the page, so a lot of times you never know who you're talking to. Sometimes it's me, sometimes it's her. People who know us very well can tell the difference. I'm a little edgier in the stuff that I say sometimes, and she's more beautiful and
I use the
flowery,
akomas and smiley faces. And
but sometimes we mix it up just to be cantankerous and to just, sometimes it's me talking in her style, and then other times it's her talking in my style. But names are important, and so the other question that we get all the time is what is the Akoma, where does it come from, et cetera, et cetera. And basically, the Akoma is one of the ancient proper names for the symbol that we call the heart.
the Akoma is an Akan word from Ghana, West Africa, but the symbol that we know as the heart is actually a very ancient symbol. We have it on the cover of the Akoma Day, you can see it, the Akoma Day book. So what we tell people is this is a naturally occurring symbol. You see it in flowers and plants and leaves and a lot of different places in nature. But the story of the Akoma, of this symbol that's right here, is really part of the science of soulmate. When you're looking at symbolic language, you really take it in immediately when you know what it is, before you can even read the word Akoma, sound it out and break it down. You can take in the symbol and know the science of soulmate.
It's a lot of misusage of this term out there, so much so to the point that now it's scrutinized whether or not it's even real. And that happens every time something gets overused. Then people question, is it dead, is it alive, is it like hip hop, is hip hop dead? People want to know. People want to know, is a soulmate real? This ancient science of soulmating is divine, and it comes from a classic black understanding, an original understanding that the man and woman were one in the spiritual realm. They go on two separate paths, and then they reconnect. And we're all born, or we're all come into existence with one soulmate. You only have one actual soulmate. But in our book and in life, we use the sacred science of soulmating, which is the preparatory initiation to be prepared for a mate that you can use with anyone. Now, in this time that we live in, many people don't meet their soulmate. They're aborted in the womb, they die, various things happen. But anciently, we were taught that the man and woman were separated at conception. They were born sometimes at two different times in two different places, and then there were special people, a person called a Momogedi that would divine the purpose of the child in the womb, and then the village, the group would search for the mate to that child. The term is valid. It is real. Today, people walking around talking about their cat is the soulmate, they soulmates with their car, or I had a soulmate last week, now I'm looking for another one, etc., etc. And they're really devaluing this term. And so the subtitle of our book, Akoma Day, is a guidebook into the sacred science of soulmating, because it's something that's sacred, and we want to return that. And so
But we don't want people to be worried because we say that there is only one soulmate divinely. The other whole third of the book is really for how you mate souls and unify with anyone. So if you didn't meet your soulmate, you can still have a great connection and a unified purpose and a unified life and a grand love. And this book is also for you as a single person to prepare for your soulmate? Because a lot of people ask us that question too. How do you find your soulmate? How do you know if you found your soulmate?
Right.
And we say that the best way that you can find your soulmate is to really live your life's purpose.
To find your soul.
To do your part of the path. So in order for you to meet someone who's going to complement your life and complement your journey, you're going to have to be living. You're not going to meet that person accidentally, even though me and my mom show met at the car wash. That's another story, right? You're gonna have to actually be doing the things that interest you and doing the things that inspire you and that are your heart's desire in order for you to meet someone who's naturally on a complementary path.
The akoma. It's a very visceral word. If you know ancient languages, they ignite and activate your Aritu or your energy centers or your chakras. And so when you're saying heart, is the word akoma is very different, and it activates something in you. And so the Akoma Day is not an Akan holiday, although we use their name. This symbol is ancient, like all symbolic language, and throughout time it's had many different names. It was on coins at one time. As Nawasha said, it forms through flowers, and it really comes from where all language comes from, the mental realm, a thought symbol. And so we chose it to make that connection with the motherland, but also to distinguish itself from what we're being taught here. So we chose that word, but we do have the blessing of the Akan, and so in that regard, we call it Akoma Day. But the name of our business is called the Akoma House Initiative. And so, of course, we know, again, the Akoma is the symbol known as the heart, and it represents many principles of divine love. The house is a protective covering, and the word initiative has two meanings. It means simply to take initiative, to be forward acting, and then it also means to be initiated. And that is an ancient concept that is about learning through full immersion, through experience. Not just reading something, not a teacher just telling you something. In ancient cultures, in order to be proficient at something, whether it was a cooker, a carpenter, or even womanhood or manhood, you would have to be taken by a group of men, a group of women, and taught the art, the craft of that skill. And once you were taught it through experience. So we say that if you read something, you remember 20% of it. If you see something, you remember like 40 to 50% of it. But if you do something, then your memory acuity is up like 70 to 90%. And that's why at the Akoma House Initiative, as a counseling firm, we actually have you always do stuff when you come to
Part of the way that we have you do stuff is in the Akoma Day book. So we kind of break down a little bit about Valentine's Day. We talk a lot about Akoma Day and the principles behind the Akoma Day holiday and why it's necessary and needed if you really want to have an experience of divine love. But there's 30 exercises that have you really do something in order to unify around the principles and the virtues of Akoma Day. So we're going to give some of the examples out and actually do them in front of you during the Akoma Day holiday. And the one that we shared a couple days ago that we're going to share again during this video is the word purge.
You know, one of the exercises that we have in the book is called word purge and word cultivation. You know, I don't have to tell many of our people, I hope I don't have to tell many of our people that the languages and many of the words that we speak are not our native tongues. And in the science, the vibratory science of words and sound, when a word is limited, it limits your expression, it limits the activation, it limits everything. Many of the words that we use to express ideas are the words of people who have oppressed us. And so a person can never rise out of the mentality of their oppressor if the only words they know are the words that the oppressor gave them. And so how this applies on a practical level, we say stuff like, oh, you look sexy, or, you know, oh, this is nice, I want to be romantic. And not realizing that words like romantic assumes that Rome or the Roman culture is the foundational or pinnacle example of love. But there are many terms in our native tongues that represent this same idea. There's muritic, which is myrrh, is the frankincense and myrrh oil. Myrrh is is the foundational word of love. So whenever you hear that word myrrh, it means love. So you don't have to be a romantic, you can be myrrhitic. Or you can be acomic, which is a word that we designed and we use with one another to represent that same kind of energy. You don't have to be sexy, you could be zemunye, which is a Zulu word. And there's many other words, there's many other things like this that we do and we encourage the people to do in the word purge chart, because we need to stop saying these words. We need to stop saying that.
Especially when it comes to, I hear people say some of these words like, oh, you got sexy eyes, and you're talking about a child. Or
right.
I think sometimes we need to say what we really mean. Right. And that's what the word purge is about. You might have a word
to the child
that's causing an argument in your relationship, or
right.
Something that you just don't even want to say to yourself anymore.
Right.
And it's time that you have to kind of recognize it and then replace it with something that's better. So we
right.
say, if you're really going to look for something, be creative, make up a word. It happens all the time. For us, especially online, we make up words, we make up acronyms. Language and culture is alive, and it grows and changes every single day, all the time, and that's what it's supposed to do. So this word purge is really just about something that you would like to take out of your language, but actively doing something to exchange another word that you really mean.
And we even do it in like conversation or arguments, especially with couples or families. It's nothing like a good old fight. And even in words, one of the things that we're very mindful of when couples come to us and we do our workshops and whatnot, is to move away from saying always or never. You never show me so da, 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 da. Or you always, every time we do, every time. And we say, wait, every single time or always, and so just gently replacing things with like oftentimes when this and this and this happens, this and this happens.
Or sometimes.
Or
even,
sometimes.
Or the
yeah.
last time, and
yeah.
you're really saying all the time, every time. And those are simple things. So we're actually gonna put it up with what we suggest, but then we tell people that you're actually gonna make this alive in your life and in your relationship.
Right.
So for you to add something yourself. So
the important thing is for you to know that you can create whatever word reality you want, because that is the same thing that somebody else did to cause you to use the words you're using today. And so that self-determinative language, that kujijagalia, that Kwanzaa concept, that concept of you can create your own reality through the thoughts that you have and the words that you speak is what we're striving to make you understand here. And so that's where we are with that. That's the word purge. We are the Acoma House Initiative, a very real counseling and consulting firm, culturally based. We have an office. We do workshops. We do couples counseling. We do families counseling. We do individual. But we're also about erasing the stigma that our people have with counseling. So we come to you, we meet you in the mall, in the barbershop, in the hair salon, in the park, in the museum, on the beach. We try to make it artistic. We try to make it comfortable where you are so that we can deal with the issues in the natural way that we connect with one another. So check us out. Go to our page, www.acomahouseinitiative.com. Till the next time we meet, greet you in peace.
Hotep.
Hotep.